Kits and Wagers is back. 6 games in game week 28. We got 6 bets for everyone. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, we're also sponsored by Portland Bangers FC this week. Chris, what's up? Portland Bangers FC, a big opponent of Ballard FC, who we're supporting here, but we had to look up this logo right before the show. Portland Bangers FC and their logo, Spicy Tea Sausage. Does this make you want to get some Portland Bangers kits and hats, or what do you think?
Anytime you can get a sausage, on top of your hat or as a hat logo, I think you have to take that opportunity.
Well, it's right the end of a sausage with eyes on it, and then more sausages that are connected coming out of its head.
Yeah, it's a real piece of art. It's it's kind of like modern fashion as well. So I kind of like what we're going with here. I would get some swag.
I feel like I need to message the artist who did this and get them in on the RotoWire Soccer new logo, something like that.
See if they can't get us some swag,
Yeah, like RotoWire sausage. I don't know.
Yes.
RotoWire.
This is how the sausage is made, my friend.
All right, we got bets for everyone. We're talking the Premier League. RotoWire.com/betting. We're going over all the odds over here. It's been a while since we've been with everyone giving bets, but we still got stuff up on the site. Got an article with 3 bets for Saturday's matches. RotoWire.com/soccer. And Chris, you've been here and there, and you're currently there. You're all over the place. But how have you been keeping up with the football world here and Liverpool's quest to win the title?
Yeah, it's been a bit since we've done a show, mostly due to some travel plans, all this good stuff. So it's probably been about a month or more since we did our last show, and so it's good to be back. I have been keeping up pretty intensely here with the league and Champions League and all that good stuff. So I am hoping to continue to keep up. 21 and 26 on the record, but I'm up money because we're taking some banger bets. So, pumped to be back. And, here we are, kind of an interesting March. There's an international break later in the month.
Yep.
And so we've got FA Cup. Is it twice? We've got a League Cup weekend with Liverpool. Some very intense Champions League games too. So it's a bit of an interesting month. Not quite as hectic maybe, but still a lot of games.
Yeah, interesting month, maybe not for the top of the table, with Liverpool 13 points clear of Arsenal with an added game there. But it's a long way up here for Arsenal, and Nottingham Forest still sitting in 3rd place. But I'm not sure that's going to hold after this weekend, but we will see. Chris's first game that we're going after. Crystal Palace are at home against Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town have, last time we talked, maybe they're showing life. They're no longer showing life. Ipswich Town are plus 550 to win this one. Draw is coming in at plus 340. And JP Mateta, I guess that's the big absence here for Crystal Palace. He got a boot to the face in the last FA Cup match, so likely Nketiah comes into the starting 11. Changes some things up for Crystal Palace, but looking at the line movement, hasn't really affected the line movement at all, mainly because Ipswich Town have been playing pretty poorly lately. They also have some guys possibly getting back like Hutchinson and Enciso. But what do you got for this one?
Yeah, they have Ipswich, as you mentioned, struggling. They also have a very long list of injured players, which is kind of affecting their lineup a little bit here. The absence of Mateta is definitely a big one for Palace, considering how good he's been for them over the past 18-ish months. But a really big opportunity for Eddie Nketiah here up top. I will say, Palace have been quite good as of late. That they really only, they beat United last weekend. They have, against all odds, kind of have advanced in the FA Cup too. So got a couple of pretty good results. They did drop one to Everton recently, but have been they beat Fulham, beat Villa. And of course, they did get past Millwall again in the FA Cup. So playing pretty well. Ipswich, given their injuries, given how poorly they've played, they're just like, you look at their roster and they really only have probably one player who would start on some other teams, and that's Liam Delop. So maybe a couple other guys. So there's just like a pretty big dearth in quality, I think. So all that said, they've been giving up goals. They actually are like they remind me of Luton a little bit from last season, and the fact that they can go out and get a goal and maybe a surprise team to start the match, but like over 90 minutes, they just can't seem to kind of hold it and come away with 3 points. So I'm actually going to go both teams to score, no draw. I think Palace have shown that they can score. A little bit concerned about Mateta being out, but I still think they have enough players, enough quality to find the back of the net a couple times. And like I said, Ipswich has gotten out, and they've gotten out early and scored on teams. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they could do that here. I'd mostly just like the plus 165 odds, and I think that this is a realistic bet. So both teams to score, no draw. What do you think?
Yeah, they're scoring in a lot of these matches, and that's kind of where your bet's coming at. It's been kind of a weird recent stretch for them. They battled at Aston Villa. They had that game against Tottenham. I think Tottenham scored 4 goals from 9 shots is what it was. Ipswich could have had like 3 goals in the first 10 minutes of that one. And then the Manchester United one, I took double chance Ipswich Town in that. Dorgu got a red card in the 43rd minute, and Ipswich Town just could not get it. They allowed another. Maguire got a 47th minute goal. They just could not get a late equalizer for basically the entire second half, and it was just like actually really disappointing in that they need points. They were up a man for 45 minutes, and they just couldn't do it against a struggling Manchester United team. It just seems like they're making mistakes every game defensively, but they're also finding ways to score. So also Tuanzebe is going to be out for this one. He's arguably their best right back, so take him out. And he's been out for a good portion of the season, but I don't think it helps him very much. But I agree with the bet. Again, you're just hoping for it's always tough hoping for three goals in I guess either of these team games, Ipswich or Crystal Palace games. So we'll see if Crystal Palace can score two or more without big JP over there.
Yep.
Next game, Wolverhampton are home against Everton. An interesting match. Wolverhampton are 5 points above relegation zone. They've gotten a decent run of form lately. They're plus 160 to win this one. Everton are plus 180. The line movement I think some of the line movement has aligned with when Matheus Cunha got his red card on February 28th, maybe. That's kind of what it seems like. They used to be plus 130 to win. Now they're plus 160 to win. So what I'm looking at here, Wolverhampton without Cunha, you just can't trust this team. I think it's just going to be low scoring. The odds know that. The over-under in this game, under 2.5 goals, is minus 155 odds. And, that's a few games recently that has been the case for Everton, but their games actually have had more goals because they are actually scoring again under David Moyes. But I'm going with something kind of similar, but we're getting better odds on it. I think 1-1, a type of 1-1 game is in play. I also think a scoreless draw is in play because Wolves, without Cunha, he is their guy. He's their guy who scores. He is who they give it to in the attacking third. He kind of does a little bit of everything, rips goals from 30 yards out. And without him, I'm not sure what this attack's going to look like. And then that's already going against a good Everton defense. So I think it's just going to be like two kind of tentative teams. Maybe not that much happens. So let's just do no on both teams to score. We're getting minus 115 odds on it. So I like the odds. Compare the under 2.5 is minus 155. I just like the odds here with minus 115. I think that, I do think 1-1's in play. I think like a scoreless draw, 1-0 to either side. Maybe Everton can really put it on 2-0 or something like that. But let's just do no both teams to score.
Yeah, the absence of Cunha is just like, what are Wolves going to do? I feel like it's just like he's been their talisman throughout the season, really, and without him, it's just going to be tough.
Lunchtime for Chris here, 11:30 local time.
I had to get something to dry throat down here in New Orleans, so I had to get something down the throat.
Yeah, you got that. You're close to the sea over there. Although you live close to the sea, so it's not an excuse either.
I'm always seaside. But yeah, so And Everton, just like given how good their defense is, I don't I don't know how Wolves are going to find it scoring goals on Saturday.
Yeah, if this goes over 2.5, I'd be surprised. Maybe it gets to 2-1, but I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a ton of opportunities for either side in this game.
Yeah.
Another game on Saturday. Brentford are home. Brentford are plus 122.25 favorites, which is a little surprising here. Aston Villa plus 195. Aston Villa coming off Champions League win in Bruges, and these odds are just kind of crazy here. I mean, the last couple of weeks they've also moved a crazy amount here. Like nothing has happened. There's not been any major injuries for Aston Villa outside of them having to travel for Champions League. But Brentford used to be plus 150. Now they're plus 125. Aston Villa used to be plus 150. Now they're plus 195. So the odds are just going in Brentford's favor, which I don't know. It seems kind of crazy. I know Aston Villa are struggling in league play, but yeah, do you think Brentford can pull off the win here? I'm not even sure plus 125 is worth it for Brentford money line. I'd actually want better odds.
Initial reaction was like, oh, it's like interesting that they're favored here against a Villa side who have been better this season, at least looking at the table wise. But yeah, I think they're baking in a lot of like Aston Villa coming back on a short week after an intense Champions League game in Bruges. So I think maybe that's kind of why you see the odds kind of down here. It sounds like Onana's still out, Barkley's still out, so kind of missing. I mean, Onana would likely start, and Barkley is just a nice depth option. So they're missing a little bit there. Maybe that's why the odds are as they are. Brentford obviously have some bigger injury concerns, but should still be able to field. I think so. So yeah, I mean,
they're pretty much good. Norgard's going to be good. He's coming back, and Villa just got back a bunch of guys midweek. Boubacar Kamara returned, Tyrone Mings returned, Matty Cash returned. So all these guys are returning and could either start or come off the bench. But I think they'll come off the bench more likely, maybe start in that second leg against Bruges next week. Is kind of my thought process with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just think, Brentford are slightly more rested. Villa on, 3 days? They played on, was it Tuesday? So I guess 4 days rest, essentially. But it's just hard to eat, let's see, that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, they're on about 3 days rest. And so it's just hard to play in those intense games, especially away from home. Come back, go to Brentford, back-to-back away games. And I think it's going to be hard for them to get all 3 points here. Not saying they can't, but for my bet, I'm taking Brentford to at least grab a draw. I think that, they're not in as good a form as they have been at home. They've actually struggled a little bit more. Like they came out to start the season and were just unbelievable at home. They were the best team in the league and have kind of consistently dropped points over the last month or so. But I still think just like Villa have a short week, intense match, Brentford at home, I think they're going to be able to at least take a point here. And I do see this one going over 2.5 goals. It's plus 120. So a little same game parlay there, but I think Brentford I'm kind of banking on a couple goals here and them being able to take at least a draw from Villa.
Yeah, this Villa team just struggles defensively. They always get burned on the counter. And Brentford are a good team to score off the counter with Wissa and Bomo and those guys. There's been so many games this season where it's both teams are scoring in these Villa games because they just can't keep clean sheets. And then I think Brentford were one of the teams that actually went down south, trained a little bit. They haven't played since the 26th. So a week and a half ago, they're one of the teams that went down, trained, got some warm weather in them kind of a thing. I think if a lot of my bets this week, I think we're getting so late into the season here with Champions League. And we also have a new schedule with Champions League, which added those 2 games in the league phase. So all these teams are playing, even though Champions League is normal, they're still playing more games in UEFA play than usual. So you just add that with all the cup games. It's just more games for all these guys. I think we're gonna see some tired legs here. I don't think we're talking about we're not talking about that Liverpool one, but I think we're gonna get rotation here and there. We're gonna get tired legs. I'll be talking Manchester United, Arsenal in a little bit, and I think we're just gonna we're getting close here to the business end of the season, and it's also the business end of getting tired because you're playing so many matches.
The business end of the season of getting tired. I love that.
That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
We're moving to Sunday here. We got some more interesting odds because Bournemouth are favored at Tottenham. And looking at the line movement here, a little bit a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Tottenham were favored. They were plus 135 to win. And now they're plus 170. The odds are they're just moving up. Actually, this is 3 days ago, they were plus 135 to win. And then people were like, let's watch them play in Europa League and watch them lose to Alkmaar. And they're like, okay, let's bet the other side because it's the same Tottenham. And now they're plus 170. It's kind of crazy how the odds are moving like that. Bournemouth are plus 135. We have, I guess Kulishevsky is a new injury that happened middle of the week. And then Solanke picked up another injury. So, I mean, Kulishevsky, sure, but they still got a lot of their other guys back. James Madison has been back. Son's been healthy. Brennan Johnson's been back. Wilson Odobert has been back. They got all these guys back. Van de Ven and Romero were on the bench Thursday. Both those guys could technically start. They're fairly healthy, more healthy than they were earlier in the season. But it's kind of surprising that the odds have moved like that. I'm not going to take – I like Bournemouth like most people, but I'm just not going to do like a road plus 135 win here for them. Especially Ryan Christie doesn't seem like he's going to be available to start. And then Zabarnia is still suspended for Bournemouth. So James Hill is probably going to start center back again. So I actually think that the Tottenham injury situation is a little better. So I'm just going with a corners. We do corners over here. And let's just do Bournemouth, raise to 5 corners, plus 110. Missing a center back. I don't think that's going to affect their corners. Alex Scott probably coming in for Ryan Christie again. Bournemouth have been a team that can pretty much score against everyone. The way they press, I think their press is going to be problematic for this Tottenham team who hasn't been great at times, is what I'll say. They've been loose with the ball a little bit, and I think Bournemouth are just going to get more opportunities overall. Maybe that's not going to lead to a win, but I think it's just going to be they're going to get more corners here. And the best numbers I found here, instead of, I think Bournemouth over 5.5 corners was minus 130, something like that. I'm just going race to 5 corners instead, plus 110 odds.
This isn't back to your roots here, Adam, on this race to 5 corners bet. Like, going back to what got you here, kind of. I feel like, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's what got me here.
Is corners bets. But yeah, no, this is an interesting game. Like for both teams. Tottenham coming off a pretty dismal result here in Europa League where they got beat away from home. And then Bournemouth, I mean, missing a couple key pieces, I feel like. So at least at center back. So this is a good one. Kind of you stray away from trying to pick a winner or a goal scorer and just keep it nice and consistent with the corners bet.
Yeah, it just goes in line with tired teams. Tottenham traveled to Alkmaar on Thursday. And I don't think they're going to rotate too much from that game. These guys are all going to be tired here, and I don't think they're going to be. This isn't going to be the full-on press Ange Postecoglou team. This is going to be a little subdued version of Spurs. Also on Sunday, Chelsea are hosting Leicester City. Probably the most different in odds in terms of the games we're talking about because Chelsea are minus 475 to win. Leicester are plus 1,000. Leicester, along with the other two teams headed for relegation, just things haven't been going well for them. And there's not really anything Ruud van Nistelrooy can do to prevent that from happening. As for Chelsea, they've been arguably hit or miss here. They kind of haven't figured it out without Nicholas Jackson. And Cuckoo's been kind of starting a little more. Pedro Neto has been in like a false 9 for them the last couple matches. They sort of figured it out, but one of those games was against Southampton. So did they figure it out? Who knows? I guess that's the question for you. Has Chelsea figured it out? Will they just win another game 4-0 because the other team's terrible?
I think, I mean, they will probably win here because Leicester are terrible and Ruud van Nistelrooy is probably on the hot seat as much as anyone in the league. Unfortunately the odds were not very good. Like, going to pick some game line type of bets for this game was a little tougher. The odds were not super great. You got to pair money line with goals, and with goals you got to go like above 2.5, 3 goals. Similar to Liverpool, Southampton. Yeah. Yeah, it's just tough. Like, so you couldn't like find enough value really. I feel like in that area, so I had to get a little bit creative with this one. And as always, use the RotoWire cheat sheets. I was kind of just looking based on corners, what teams were conceding, what away from home, and kind of the away and home splits, both for Chelsea and for Leicester. And so it was interesting, but Chelsea actually gives they take less corner kicks at home than they do away from home, which I thought was a weird kind of something you don't typically see. And so just based on that, there's a bet that I found on DraftKings. It's race to 7 corners, and you can pick neither. So typically you would pick, like Adam did on his last bet with Bournemouth, you'd pick, he did race to 5 corners and pick Bournemouth. I'm actually doing no team to get up to 7 corners. So the line, I believe, for Chelsea, the over under is set at 7.5. So I'm, if I was going to do that, it would be under 7.5. But I'm actually I don't think either team will hit 7 corners here. It's plus 135, so decent odds. And I just kind of had to get a little creative with this one because this is a weird game and Chelsea are heavily favored. And you gotta, if you want to take a good bet with them, it's got to be like Chelsea to win 3-0 type of thing.
A little creative, he says. No, I was looking at something similar for this for Liverpool because they're playing Southampton, and just these games against these teams that are just allowing stupid goals pretty much every game. They're having defensive mistakes no matter who's back there. It's just like these teams will score goals and they won't get corners. Just last league game, Chelsea I think had 4 corners against Southampton in that 4-0 win. You know. Teams in these situations, like more similar to, I think it was Manchester City against Plymouth in the FA Cup. I think they were losing at one point. They're struggling to actually score goals, so they racked up corners. They ended up with 20 corners in that game, and that's when you rack up corners. So I think along the lines of your thinking is, okay, Chelsea are going to score goals and they're not going to get corners. So I agree with this one. I was looking at like under Liverpool 7.5, 8.5 as well. So along that same line, I think in there.
Nice. Yeah. It's just tough with those heavily favored teams to get any bet of value.
Yeah. Unless we take, unless you like the other team, I guess, which I don't think anyone does. Also, Sunday, the standalone game on Sunday is maybe not as exciting as some people would like, but Manchester United are home against Arsenal. The odds have steadily moved in Arsenal's favor. 2 weeks ago, Manchester United were plus 330 to win. Now they're plus 425. Arsenal are now minus 135 to win. Manchester United, Ruben Amorim has already said this morning that his team is tired. He doesn't know who's available, and he's complaining like he always does. Arsenal, they still got their same injuries. But basically, Manchester United don't really have a ton of guys to rotate. They were in northern Spain on Thursday, and I don't know how this match is going to help their overall vibes. I remember under Eric Ten Hag earlier in the season, we were kind of a little bit in these big games that Manchester United play up for. We were actually losing some bets because they were just playing like a different team. Are they going to do that here? I'm not sure. They've actually shown that same the same higher level of play in bigger games against bigger opponents that they did under Ten Hag. So I'm just going with a simple. All right, it's not simple now that I'm looking at the bet I picked out here, but I'm taking Manchester United under 3.5 corners, minus 105. Arsenal, they did just get 7 goals, but I still think their attack is obviously still not at the same levels as it was without Saka, without Martinelli, without Havertz, without Jesus. But I still think they can control this match. They can still. I think this is going to be low scoring. This is another one under 2.5 was like minus 150, something like that. I'm not going to take that. I just think they're going to dominate possession. I don't think Manchester United are getting many opportunities outside of maybe going off the counter. I don't think Manchester United are going to get corners. So let's just do under 3.5 corners for Manchester United, minus 1.5, minus 105.
I love this bet. This is, it is a little spicy to take, Man United with 3 corners, but Arsenal are just such a superior side, I guess, that maybe they won't have as much attacking play.
Yeah, like how many touches are they going to get in the attacking third? And I don't think it's going to be that many, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Definitely we're probably expecting another Arsenal win here too, I suppose.
Maybe. What was that, minus 135? Again, another number I didn't want to take by itself. So you
Yeah.
could go like, I don't know. I still don't even trust this Arsenal attack to get the win. So that's also why I didn't really take that route.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I did put together Arsenal double chance, under 1.5 goals first half, under 3.5 goals for the game. That was still minus 120 odds. So that
Well,
was in my original line of thinking.
just a 3-legged parlay that's still minus odds.
That is it's now being called as a Zdroik parlay in the RotoWire subscriber Discord. Just to have you know, you throw on when you think a game's going to be low scoring, you throw on under 1.5 goals in the first half just to get a little boost. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's that's a little something you can't get everywhere, you know.
That's it. That's 6 bets for game week 28. Chris, Liverpool are one of the biggest favorites of the season. You have something else. You have a Ballard FC bet for us.
I had no Ballard FC bets, but we are repping. Adam's got his Ballard FC kit on. I got my hat on. We're kicking off the season here. They're USL 2, my local squad. They're kicking off the season on the 19th of March here, so about a little over a week. They got a big U.S. Open Cup match against who the heck was it? It was somebody local.
Spokane Velocity.
Yeah, Yep. So we'll be up for it. The supporters group will be up for it. So, but other than that, I'm gracing the city of New Orleans this weekend for our good buddy John McKechnie, another RotoWire guy. His bachelor party is getting married.
He's a banger.
Yep. Former college football editor. I don't know what he does now. I think he still covers some stuff, but good friend of mine. And he wanted to get a bet in for the show. So
let's go.
Yeah, so we got a little bachelor bet here. He's going to keep it real nice and easy. We got Brighton money line plus 100. That's where he's
Brighton money line.
Yeah. So Brighton playing at home. Kind of we'll see how it goes. But they got who the heck do they got?
Home against Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham. So not it's pretty tough. Not the easiest match here, but he likes him at home. So I just want to get that one off for him here before we wrap up the show.
Shouts to John. Congrats to John. And one-time, maybe two-time guest of Kits and Wagers is here for a bachelor bet. So shouts to John there.
Yeah, he did do a show with me one time. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I think you were in Spain or something like that, and he had to sub in and basically ask me my best, which was it was great. It was good to have him on the show. So he is a contributing member of Kits and Wagers.
Yeah, there we go. Before we go, I got to ask, give me a score prediction here of Liverpool Southampton. Are we taking over 3.5, over 4.5 goals? Darwin brace. What do we got?
I think it's like 2-0. I think we're gonna see Harvey Elliott. Maybe Salah's rested, comes on. Like I would not be surprised to see Salah on the bench. Definitely, I think we do see Darwin up top. I would not be surprised about that at all. I think Gakpo's still out, so they're probably gonna have to play Diaz or Curtis Jones maybe pops out there. But I would not be surprised to see maybe Kwan's in for Kanate or VVD. And so Connor Bradley at right back, and then Endo. I would not, and maybe Endo
Bradley's hurt, but yeah.
Oh yeah, Brad. Okay. So either way, yeah, I would not, I think we're going to see a little rotation here, and I just don't think it's going to be that they're not going to go shellac them. It's going to be kind of low scoring.
Yeah, Slot had some interesting comments. He was like, "This is the first game of our treble or something." Because they have this game and then the PSG second leg, and then I think the final for the League Cup. I forgot what he called it, but it was like, what did you just call this game against Southampton? That's basically a free win. Like he was trying to hype this game up for his team basically in the press conference, and it's like no one believes you here.
I love that. Slot's got to keep the boys sharp. We got a big week.
It's the first of 3 finals this week. It's like, okay.
Love that. That's my manager.
Southampton's a real final here, guys.
That's my manager right there. Yeah, exactly. At home against Southampton, got to be up for it. They're gonna bring it.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck to the Reds here. Unfortunately for me, I have a PSG bet to win Champions League, which took a blow on Wednesday with that stupid game. But neither here nor there.
That's truly one of the worst games. It was just insane to watch. You know, they didn't deserve what they got at all. It could have been 3-4-0, I think, PSG, and that would have been an appropriate scoreline.
We won't talk about the possible red card either, but that's all we got for kits and wagers. You can find Chris at CHR08. I'm at RotoZdroik over on Twitter. Let's win some bets here, Chris. Let's enjoy our weekend. Let's stay sane. Let's stay safe, but let's have a good time this week. Again, shouts to John. I'll clip this video. Maybe I'll throw it on social media so he has a nice little bet that he can show his followers or something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice touch.
All right, thanks, Chris. We'll see everyone next week.
Thanks, Adam.